This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. I'm Savannah Sellers in for Jose. We begin tonight with a community in mourning after gunfire erupted following a high school homecoming football game in Mississippi. This was the scene in downtown Leland overnight. At least 6 people were killed with many more hurt. Daylight revealing bullet holes like this in cars and buildings. And this was just one of 3 shootings near schools in that state last night. Our Jay Gray has more.
Chaos as deadly violence unfolded in tiny Leland, Mississippi.
We got to do better. Leland homecoming, man.
Authorities say 6 were killed after a shooting on Main Street following the town's homecoming football game Friday night.
People who were enjoying themselves last night found themselves faced with violence that no community should be faced with.
The victims ranging in age from 18 to 41. Across the state, another deadly shooting.
We have a medical call at Heidelberg High School. It's going to be multiple people shot.
This one at a high school football game in the small town of Heidelberg, where officials say 2 people died. Mississippi's governor says one of the victims was pregnant. Police today arresting an 18-year-old suspect. And in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, a 3rd shooting outside of a local football game there last night. Authorities there arresting 2 individuals. While back in Leland, the search for the gunman continues, city leaders asking for help.
This is not a time to keep your mouth closed. It's a time you open your mouth. You can save a lot of lives if you open your mouth and tell us what you have seen.
The mayor working to heal a community in pain and on edge.
Please pray for Leland, Mississippi. Pray for your city, and let's pray for this country.
Jay Gray joins me now from Leland. And Jay, what do we know about the investigation tonight and the other victims there?
Yeah, and Savannah, let's start with that investigation. Within the last hour, we've seen crews up and inspecting what is the town's only surveillance camera here. It was trained directly where this happened, so it could provide some necessary video for this investigation as it continues. As for the other victims, we know at least 10 others were transported from this scene to area hospitals.
Jay Gray in Leland, Mississippi. Thank you. Also tonight, the East Coast is bracing for impact as a massive nor'easter is expected to make its way north, bringing heavy rains and winds and potentially dangerous flooding. Jesse Kirsch reports from the storm zone.
In Charleston, South Carolina, today some streets briefly turned to streams. Similar scenes playing out as far south as Florida since Friday when we saw this.
Here in Isle of Palm, South Carolina, waves have been crashing into people's homes, but residents tell us this should be dry beach.
This messy weekend courtesy of a still brewing nor'easter in the open Atlantic. The storm fueling powerful waves that coincided with an especially high tide known as the king tide. The rough weather making already concerning beach erosion worse.
So we're trying to protect homes, trying to maintain the beach all at the same time, but right now the focus is definitely on the structures.
Meanwhile, out west, the remnants of Hurricane Priscilla continue pouring down on cities, including Las Vegas. Fire officials in the area say crews rescued 2 women from rising waters Friday, but authorities say crews were not able to rescue a man who vanished from sight after sundown. And today in southwest Colorado, this structure seen floating down a rushing creek. Officials there say more than 380 homes have been evacuated because of flooding.
And Jesse joins me now from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Jesse, what kind of preparations are underway up the East Coast?
New Jersey has already declared a state of emergency as the New York City area braces for coastal flooding. Meanwhile, the threat is not over here in South Carolina. We are expecting rough beach conditions through the weekend. Savannah?
Jesse Kirsch in South Carolina, thank you. Let's turn now to meteorologist Angie Lastman. And Angie, the storm will last through the weekend?
Unfortunately, that's exactly right, Savannah. We've got multiple days of heavy rain, strong wind gusts as this area of low pressure works up the coast. As we get into Sunday, that rain extends north into New England. We'll see the strong onshore winds as well, and that takes us right into our upcoming work week. We'll see the heavy rain, the strong winds into Monday, finally moving out by Tuesday. But between now and then, heavy rain and flooding, upwards of 6 to 7, even 8 inches of rain in some localized spots. We'll see the potential for that coastal flooding as well, with all those onshore winds pushing water up against the coast. The erosion will be a potential we'll see through the next couple of days. On top of that, wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour, down trees and power lines possible. Savannah.
All right. Angie Lastman, thank you so much. Well, in Tennessee tonight, officials say it looks like there were no survivors in that massive blast at an explosives plant. Kathy Park has the latest.
Tonight, at least 16 people feared dead following Friday's massive blast at an explosives plant in Tennessee. The sheriff visibly shaken, delivering the latest update.
Truly devastated. It's a tremendous loss, a great loss. And at this time, we have recovered no survivors.
Accurate Energetic Systems is a privately owned facility that processes ammunition and explosives. This is what the area looked like before the blast, and here's what it looks like today. The company says thoughts and prayers are with anyone affected by the incident. Investigators are now processing the half-square-mile debris field that they say remains extremely volatile. Medical personnel on standby just in case.
Was the public safe? Can we anticipate more detonations?
We are going to possibly have some of those that we're going to have to dispose of in some way, form, or fashion.
John Leshin lives 2 miles from the site. The cameras around his home capturing the explosion from all angles.
I felt it in my chest, felt it in the house. The windows rattled.
Tonight, as officials begin the grim task of identifying the missing, heartache is settling in for this small community. Jessica O'Daniel, a former employee, knows several people who worked that day.
The people that I know, that I'm close to, they hugged those people for the last time, and they didn't know.
And officials here telling us it could take days, if not weeks, to figure out what caused this blast. There is no known threat to the public tonight. Savannah?
Well, to Washington now, where President Trump has ordered his defense secretary to continue paying military service members despite the ongoing government shutdown. Julie Sirkin is at the White House. And Julie, given the shutdown, where is that money coming from?
Savannah, President Trump says he will pay troops on October 15th without Congress's help. I'm told by two sources directly familiar, the White House notified lawmakers they are shifting funds around to do it. It comes as more than 1 million Americans who work for the federal government are without pay tonight, and thousands more are bracing for layoffs. And speaking of the military, a federal appeals court tonight blocking the president from deploying National Guard on the streets of Chicago and nearby towns. But the judge is letting the administration keep troops there under federal control for now.
And Julie, we've also got medical updates on both President Trump and former President Biden. What are you hearing?
Yeah, Savannah, the president's doctor says he's in, quote, excellent overall health and that he received the COVID booster. We also have an update on former President Biden, who's battling an aggressive form of prostate cancer. He is now undergoing radiation therapy, but is said to be doing well. Savannah?
Julie Sirkin, thank you. And Kristen Welker has a big lineup on Meet the Press tomorrow, including Vice President J.D. Vance. That is right here on NBC. Well, in the Middle East, hope is growing for the expected release of the remaining hostages held in Gaza. Here's Richard Engel with a look at the different scenes in Israel and in Gaza now that the ceasefire is in effect.
The view over Gaza today reveals how destructive 2 years of near constant Israeli strikes have been. Now that a ceasefire is in place, this is what Gazans are returning to. 500,000 have returned to Gaza City since Friday. Mahmoud Kandil discovered his home was destroyed, so he, his wife, and 3 children will remain homeless. When we got back, we were shocked by the horrific scenes. It's massive destruction, he said. Kandil was collecting wood and anything useful to burn and make improvised shelters. There's no sewer system left in Gaza, or running water or power, and winter is coming. For the first time in years, Hamas police returned to the streets, strictly for law and order, they said. In Tel Aviv, Israelis gathered, as they have for 2 years, every Saturday in Hostage Square. They hope this will be the last time. Under the peace agreement, Hamas must release all of the hostages by noon local time on Monday. President Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, addressed the crowd, flanked by the president's daughter and son-in-law.
I dreamed of this night. It's been a long journey.
And this is what happened when Witkoff tried to congratulate Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Benjamin Netanyahu, Oh. Okay. To Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
As of tonight, Savannah, large convoys of aid have yet to enter Gaza. Hundreds of trucks are nearby and ready.
Richard Engel in Jerusalem, thank you. Well, here at home, we're also following breaking news out of Southern California, where police in Huntington Beach say several people were hurt in a helicopter crash. Police say 2 people inside the chopper were pulled safely from the wreckage, and 3 people on the ground were hurt. We're back with a major update in Luigi Mangioni's legal case. His lawyers moving to dismiss some of the charges against him, including one that could bring the death penalty. Sam Brock has more.
In a motion that could potentially upend the federal murder trial against Luigi Mangioni, defense attorneys are making a bid to throw out the capital murder charge, writing Count 3, the only death-eligible count in the indictment, and Count 4 must be dismissed, arguing the government's 2 stalking charges are not categorically crimes of violence.
Probably the strongest part of the defense's motion is their motion to dismiss the death penalty eligible counts. The federal government isn't normally in the business of prosecuting murders, and this particular death penalty eligible crime requires a predicate crime.
Mangioni's accused of shooting and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside an investors conference last December, and now faces a second-degree murder charge in New York State, as well as those federal charges. Mangioni has pleaded not guilty to all counts. The motion also asks for suppressing the evidence recovered from law enforcement's warrantless search of Mr. Mangioni's backpack at the McDonald's and suppressing Mr. Mangioni's statements to law enforcement that were obtained without Miranda warnings.
Motions to suppress either statements or evidence are always long-shot motions, but if successful, almost the entire government's case gets thrown out.
The federal government now has 14 days to respond, with the judge unlikely to even consider the motion for another month. Sam Brock, NBC News, New York.
Back now with a large train derailment in Missouri, not far from St. Louis, that happened very close to residential homes. Emergency crews rushed to the scene because they initially thought hazardous materials were in those train cars, prompting more than a dozen families to evacuate. The cause of that derailment is still under investigation. There's good news tonight. Often the good news doesn't get as much attention as the bad, right? So every Saturday we highlight the many people who spread joy and love. Here's Jose with some of those stories.
Talk about a warm welcome. For these kids in Los Angeles, back to school is really back to their school. The Marquez Elementary community returning to campus for the first time since their school was destroyed by the Palisades fire.
Just brings tears to my eyes.
Joy and celebration as they rebuild and move forward together.
Hooray for you. Treatment is through. Let's hear you ring this bell 3 times strong. You're moving on in life. We wish you well.
I like it.
And this is the sound of victory. That's 6-year-old William Thomas ringing the bell to complete his treatments for leukemia at UC Davis Children's Hospital. William's mom, Melissa, over the moon now that her son is healthy again.
I never felt alone. It's amazing how many people will come together in times of need. I just cannot express how wonderful and truly giving and loving people are.
And at this Seattle Mariners game, history on the field and in the stands.
He did it! He did it!
One lucky fan catching the ball from Cal Raleigh's 60th home run of the season. 12-year-old Marcus Ruelos was a good sport and went to give him a high five, but then a dream come true.
I couldn't believe it was a home run ball. I was crying a lot.
And get this, Marcus gave that ball, which was just given to him, back to the team and got a signed bat in return. For his dad, Galan, the kindness of a stranger and his son's maturity meant the world.
Galan, you know probably more than most, first of all, what that 60th meant to Cal, what it means to the Mariners, and just how somebody that also knew very well what that ball was worth just handed it over to your son.
Yeah, it's pretty overwhelming.
when you have kids and people are nice to your kids, you just appreciate it. So it was a complete random act of kindness.
Marcus also meeting Cal, his hero, who made all of it happen.
What's the message you hope that Marcus and everybody else gets out of this?
Sometime in your life, you're going to pay this random act of kindness forward to someone you may know or may not know. In the kindness of your heart, you're going to find a way to pay that forward.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.